Downsizing could be the difference between leaving your children with a life-changing benefit or a life-changing burden. And I'm not talking about downsizing like leaving from a big house to a condo or decluttering your house or cutting your bills in half. In this video, I'm going to share with you how downsizing your job and downsizing your career can create a second stream of income that will support you now and support your family after you're gone. When I turned 55, I realized that there was no way I was going to be able to put enough money away for retirement. I didn't have enough time to put away 300,000, 400,000, $500,000 that I could live off of comfortably in retirement. And you're probably in the same position, and it's not your fault. Me raising kids, putting kids through college, having to pay a mortgage, and in my case, and probably in your case too, you might have been laid off a couple of times, might have even been downsized, you might have gotten sick. And each time one of these life events happen, it's like you're running a race, and every few miles you come across a stop sign or a red light, and you have to start all over again. I knew I didn't have time to not only save money for myself for retirement, I also was not I was not in a position to leave them what I wanted to leave them. I wanted them to have more than just a house or a piece of property that I would leave them. And I wanted something that I could leave them that would support them for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years or more after I'm gone. My first step in downsizing is to quit my job, but I'm not going to just walk away. I gave myself a year to come up with a plan that would allow me to walk away from my 9 to 5. Now, I like what I do. I make good money. I make over $100,000 a year, but I know how this story ends. I worked long enough to know how things work once you get past 50, 55 years old. I don't want to be the one getting a notice. I want to be the one giving the notice. So after I came up with an idea or a plan to quit my job, the next thing I wanted to do was to cut expenses. And those small decisions to save money, like cutting back on Starbucks or cutting back on a streaming service or something like that, those weren't big enough to make an impact. They would not allow me to quit my job within a year. So I came up with a bigger idea for cutting back expenses. Something like I was not going to buy a new car. I was not going to spend money on on an elaborate vacation. I would still take weekend trips, but I wasn't going on major cruises or traveling overseas to take these bigger vacations. Those kind of financial decisions are much more impactful. They can make more of a difference than anything you could do simply by cutting back going to Starbucks or cutting out a streaming service subscription. Now, this next thing is really going to blow your mind. I made the decision to stop saving money. Now, I don't mean just not having money set aside. I still have money set aside for unexpected events or emergencies. That would be foolish not to do that. So I still suggest you do that. But what I'm saying is I stopped saving money just to have money in the bank. I started to think like a farmer. And when you think like a farmer, when have you ever seen a farmer have bags of seed just sitting in their barn? That's not what a farmer does. A farmer takes all of their seed, plants it in the ground for the seed to bring forth a harvest. And I started thinking the same way. I'm not having money just sitting in a bank outside of what I set aside for unexpected events or emergencies. I take my money and I invest it now. I put it in products that I use like Microsoft or Apple. I don't have an elaborate investing strategy, and I'm not trying to get into the weeds with it. I just kind of use common sense. If I use a product, I invest in that product, and I put money into the companies of the products that I use. And like a farmer, I put money in the ground, I sit back and I wait, and over time, I get a harvest. And if you think about it, when have you ever heard some of the most wealthy people in the world, like Bill Gates or Oprah Winfrey or Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, even people that aren't billionaires, just millionaires? When have you ever heard somebody that has a lot of money or is very wealthy talk about saving money? Never. They don't save their money. They put money aside and for investment or to buy assets, but nobody of wealth or nobody of means is sitting around just saving money like we were taught to do. And this next phase of downsizing is the main reason I made the decision to stop saving money. In 2013, I started a publishing company and I published my first book on Amazon. And it was a great idea to start a business, but I had the wrong mindset going into it. You ever know you're supposed to do something, like there's a voice inside of you, your soul is telling you that this is the thing you need to be doing, but instead of listening to yourself, you listen to somebody else. So I had started a business. I got an LLC, and I was instead of me having the mindset of business, I had started listening and getting caught up in the internet noise and listening to people talk about a side hustle. And to be honest, that was just dumb. It's still dumb. So think of it this way, look at it this way. You have, let's just say in your life, you have an incredible person. You have a spouse or a significant other who is helping you develop yourself into the person you want to be, helping you develop into the things that you want to have. And instead of you going all in with that relationship, you're making a choice to start seeing somebody on the side, which means that you're not fully going all in with them, with your relationship. You're not putting all your energy into that. You're kind of divided, which means you're going to get divided results. So seeing my business as an actual business and not a side hustle, I was able to put all my energy and time into my business. And I was able to make the decision or make the distinction of not just having a business. I made the decision to have an online business selling digital products. And I prefer digital products, especially ebooks, because ebooks, they have a high profit margin. It's something that you create once. You don't have to create it again. It's something that you create yourself. You don't have to pay somebody to make it. You don't have to pay somebody to package it. You don't have to pay somebody to ship it. So if you're ready to turn your ideas, your experience into a digital product so that you can live any way you want to in the world, so that you can own your time again, so that you can spend time with your children, so that you can create another stream of income that can support you now and can support your children after you're gone, click on the link in the description below. Most people who get into selling digital products, especially ebooks, tend to create an ebook or print book and they put it on Amazon. And I have currently 6 titles on Amazon, and I also have one title that's an Audible book that can be purchased through Audible. So as part of my downsizing, I'm going to move off of Amazon. Now, the titles that I have, the books that I already have on Amazon, I'm going to leave them there. But going forward, I'm not going to put any more product on Amazon. And here's why. Amazon is a great marketplace, but it's extremely competitive. It's really hard to get on that first or that second page of Amazon. You either have a huge following of people that are buying your product regularly, or you have enough money to buy keywords that will put you on that first or second page of Amazon. Because if you're not on that first or second page of Amazon, then basically you don't exist. Nobody's going to the fourth or fifth page of Amazon to look for anything. The other thing is you're sharing your profits. It's usually a 70-30 split or 60-40 split, meaning you get 70% and Amazon gets 30%, or Amazon is getting 40% and you're getting 60%. That which is not a bad thing, because Amazon is doing a lot of the work on the back end. You just have to create the product, but that's a large chunk of profit that's being taken for them doing just a little bit. And the other reason is that I'm pulling off of Amazon is that it's not my platform. It's not my business. Amazon can shut down my account or your account if you have one anytime they want to and for any reason. And guess what? If they close your account, you're out of business. So instead of Amazon, I'm selling my own product now, and I'm selling directly to my customers. So the energy and the time that you would spend to build up an audience and to drive people to Amazon, you can take that same time, that same energy, that same money, and put into building your own audience, your own customer base, and you can drive your own customer base to your own product, and you determine the success of your business. All the choices and decisions you make are to benefit your children. What if you could make a decision right now that will support you now and support your children after you're gone? I'll talk about that next. I've been to a lot of funerals, and I've spent some time with people in their final moments. And one of the things that I've never heard any of them say in their final moments is they talk about how much money they have or had, their accomplishments, their achievements. I've never heard anybody talk about the vacations they've gone on. The only thing that matters to people and to us in those moments are our children and our loved ones and how we're going to be able to take care of them and the legacy that we're leaving behind. Life is about legacy, and you want to leave the ones you love with more and better. And this is the goal of you downsizing. It's the reason that I started downsizing. You work your whole life, and if you're lucky, you have a house that you've paid off, and you might have a piece of property. You might even have a couple of $1,000s that you can leave to your kids. But I wanted to do more than that. I didn't want to leave my children with just a piece of property or just a house that they might have to sell or a couple of $1,000s in the bank. I wanted something more. I wanted something that could support them and they could live off of for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, for however long. But it was something that would create money for them long term. Now that's a legacy. And here's how I'm going to do it. And here's how you can do it too. So I have a business and a product. The next thing is to create a YouTube channel, which I already have. And I'm going to talk about on my YouTube channel, talk about content for people that are over 50 who want to go from an employee to an entrepreneur. And in creating those videos will run for 5, 10, 15, 20, who knows how long. The videos could basically run forever. Those videos will drive customers to my product, which will generate cash daily for years and for decades. Because think about it, the product is already created. The traffic, the YouTube videos that have already been created are sending people to that product, and the product is being delivered through email. So there's really nothing for anybody to physically do outside of just kind of monitor the process because everything is automated. And I use YouTube because it's not a social media platform. It's actually a search engine. It's the second largest search engine behind Google, which owns YouTube. And I know this is true because I've got, like I said earlier, I've got 6 books on Amazon right now, and none of those books, I don't market any of them. I don't talk about any of them. I don't mention any of them. I don't actively promote any of those books. And every month on each of those titles, I get a monthly royalty check from Amazon for doing absolutely nothing. If you're ready to go from employee to entrepreneur, to create a stream of income that can support you now, support you in your retirement, and support your children after you're gone, click on the link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.